If it flies, it dies all the way.
Marshall in the middle.
There we go. That's perfect. James Given, what's going on, buddy? Long time no see.
Yeah, just starting back to school and stuff like that. I went over to school actually to use one of their computers in the computer lab, but all the Zoom stuff was messed up on them. So they were like, "You're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to do that." I was like, "Well, I guess I'm using my phone."
Yeah, the phone is a great option. The cameras and everything on the phones these days are, top notch, high quality. So you look good right there, man. You're looking good. You're looking good. Tell
Thank you.
me, where are you from, man?
I was born in Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. My father was a pilot and a missile test engineer in the Air Force.
I saw some of the pictures of your dad. It looked like he was involved in some pretty cool stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. He got to live his dream.
What did he do? Tell me about what some of the stuff your dad did.
Well, he learned to be a pilot by working in a bus garage in Charleston, West Virginia, and learned to fly float planes on the Kanawha River, Aranca twin float planes. Earned his pilot's license in 1944. Then he went in the U.S. Marine Corps in 1945 in January. Graduated early and shipped out for World War II. And the war ended when he was en route to China, but he's still considered a World War II veteran, I guess. But because they went over there and fought in the Chinese Civil War, he was
Oh wow.
he was a courier, a squadron courier. He was only 17 years old. Rode around on a Harley Davidson, taking dispatches to people and stuff like that. And then after that, he came back to United States, went to Marshall University, and then went into aviation cadets.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Where
And
did you come along? Tell me about, your birth and growing up and your mom and your family. Tell me about that as a youngster.
oh well, gosh, well, Dad went to Korea. Dad went to his first assignment was the 1100th Special Air Missions Group at Bowling Air Force Base, which is Sam flies all the dignitaries and politicians around. And like that, for instance, Air Force One, when it was the tail number was 26,000. Without the president on it, Sam 26,000. But then after he met my mom, she worked at the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. They got married. Then he went to Korea and he flew Douglas B-26 Invaders in interdiction missions, shooting up truck convoys and railroad locomotives and bridges and stuff. And he came back. Well, and my oldest brother was actually born while my dad was doing his combat tour in Korea. And then he came back and they went to Texas. And then my other brother came along at James Conley Air Force Base there in Waco. And let me think. They went to Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. And then they went to the Philippines. They flew with the 31st Air Rescue Squadron there at Clark Air Base. Then he went to be the operations officer at Tachikawa Air Base. Then he came back and went into the missile business, but he always flew. He told him he wasn't going to go into missiles unless he could keep flying, and he'd do flying for the ORIs and stuff like that. And so this was right before the Cuban Missile Crisis. We always laughed. It was Dad was down a launch control facility, but Mom was sitting on top of one, waiting for doomsday. But then we came along. I guess they thought it was okay, and the coast was clear to have a couple more kids, myself and my brother, and we were at Vandenberg until 1966. We went to SAC headquarters off at Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska. But then he deployed to Vietnam. He went and he commanded the 553rd Recon, which was EC-121R Constellations. They fly up and down the Ho Chi Minh Trail getting, sensor readings, and they would call in the airstrikes. And after he came back from there, we moved back to Offutt, and then he retired a couple years after that.
What was growing up like?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I got to live some great places. We really loved Omaha, you know, and Texas as well. I mean, I would move to Texas right now if I could. We lived in a little town called Kerrville, where my grandparents lived on my mom's side. Excuse me. But you know, the Texas Hill Country, you can't beat it for the beauty and just the splendor of it all, and the things to do. And I don't know, it gets a little bit hot, but you know, it's nice down there.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
Fort Bliss. Yeah.
Amen, right?
Oh yeah, I love Fort Bliss. Gosh.
So tell me about, you know, your decision to join the Army. Where were you at, and how, you know, how did all that come about?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I was restless, and I don't know. I was kind of getting a little bit wild, and I'd already had my books and everything for Marshall University in my dorm room and everything. I said, "Bye, I'm joining the Army," and I wouldn't let them take me unless I was airborne, because I had read Ross S. Carter's "Those Devils in Baggy Pants" when I was a little kid, and I still have the book, the same book.
Oh, really?
You know,
That's awesome.
absolutely, yeah. It's one of the most amazing stories you ever hear. You know, about the way he lived and died. You know, I mean, 3 men surviving out a whole company, and then he dies of cancer 3 years after the war. That's irony for you. You know.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, that and like movies like A Bridge Too Far and stuff like that, you know, that really you know, compelled me to do it.
That's great, right? So look, being airborne is something special, right? I mean, it really is.
I think so.
Yeah. So I think that being willing to tell, you know, your country that I will jump behind enemy lines and do the things that you need me to do to secure something. You know, that's a willingness that has been talked about on par with the people that got on the ship with Columbus when he went sailing across the ocean, right? You know, you gotta have some cojones to jump out of an airplane. What was that part of it like?
What's that? I'm sorry.
What was jumping out of an airplane like for you? Did you enjoy it?
It was at first it was kind of scary. I gotta say, it was like, whoa, you know, my first jump on Friar DZ, they medevac 6 people off the DZ. You know, pop the red smoke. I knew what that meant. You know, and I was like, you know, but I learned to love it. You know, it was all part of the game. You know,
What
and
year did you join?
1983.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Okay.
Tell me about all that.
Well, see, that's the thing. I like to tell some of the old timers. Now, I went through jump school in tennis shoes, by God, but I still had steel pot helmets, you know, basic AIT and jump school, and we ate C rations, you
Oh
know.
wow.
And I was the first cycle of basic training that got 2 BDU field jackets instead of one of the pickle suit ones and 1 BDU jacket. You know, it was crazy. You know, look one way and would think it was World War II still, and look the other way and it's the modern world, you know, of today, a lot of it. Like, I went through the first cycle of basic training with the people that did the first people ever in the Army that did Patriot.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, Alpha 3-1. They're at Logan Heights. It breaks my heart they tore down Logan Heights before I could go back there, you know. But, you know, they did the same thing to Charlie 9354. It's gone too, you know. I guess I could just look at the corner of Los Banos and Nardine Street and figure it was over that way, but I don't think there's much left to indicate it.
Yeah, it's wild how those old buildings, you know, how hold our memories, and that spot on the earth seems special, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what was crazy was and I don't know what sort of song and dance they were doing, because for a long time the guys were in what they called Old Division, most of the people over there by, you know, Green Ramp and stuff.
Right, right.
Those barracks were built, I guess, late 50s. You know, the ones, the kind of sand colored or whatever they were, and dark brown. three-story barracks. And I guess they went unoccupied for a while. I don't know, because I knew people that had been in the old World War II style barracks. The
Right.
story ones. So they burned to the ground in like a minute and a half.
Right.
That's why they come up with fire guard.
Amen.
But
Amen.
it's something else.
Were you good at basic training and stuff? Were you good at being a soldier?
I was runner up for Soldier of the Cycle, and a prior service guy beat me. Cintron. Yeah, he was funny. A very thick Puerto Rican accent, and he'd tell people to cool it down. He's a really great guy. I was teaching. It came with the territory of me growing up, but I was teaching remedial aircraft wreck in the AIT. That was fun.
Oh yeah, right. Were you good at aircraft recognition? That's a valuable skill for our skill set. Were you good at it?
Yeah, that's one thing. I kind of dazzled them there over at the school, because they'd never met a guy in basic training that knew all that stuff.
Oh, wow.
Not just the nomenclature and the NATO call-out name.
So yeah. Coming from the background with your father and everything, you were probably an aviation, expert.
Oh yeah. We loved it. I wear contacts. If I took one of my contacts out, I'm blind as a bat. In fact, I took the contacts out jumping out of a C-141 one night. That wasn't any fun.
Oh no, I had that happen before. I've lost contacts. Yeah. Jumping. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a weird thing to jump out and all of a sudden your contact's gone and during that moment you kind of are not sure what's going on. You're not, you're like, am I okay? What's happening? I just can't see.
Well, that's the thing. And those BCUs they gave us, I don't have any of my BCUs left, but I still have my, BCU. Yeah, you've heard that term? Okay. I have my mask inserts though.
Oh, that's great. I have a set of mask inserts somewhere too. They're like last line of defense. I got something I can put on. Yeah,
I wish I'd have somehow got one of those M17s when they were, I guess, put out of the inventory or whatever. Just to have one for the heck of it. Lived in the thing.
Oh yeah. So did you? How long did you stay in the Army?
3 years.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell me about coming to the battalion, coming to 3rd of the 4th.
Well, now that was interesting. Well, when I got there, I was sure that some pirate ship had come up the Cape Fear River, and those guys were hiding at 3rd of the 4th to avoid, the Coast Guard or somebody. Because there were some pretty salty characters there at that time. They had one guy, they found a 12-gauge shotgun and a bunch of boxes of shells in the ceiling tiles above his bunk during a health and welfare inspection.
Oh, wow.
And I remember, I won't say names, but I remember these people's names for some reason.
Oh, that's great. What battery were you in?
I was Delta Battery. Delta Dog. Like, gosh, what would you say? I was thinking about it. We were kind of the black sheep of 3rd of the 4th, and we got thrown a lot of people trying to bring in a little bit of corrective discipline in there to get the get everybody squared away, and then it worked.
Oh, so that time I remember back in those days there were some great characters over there. Who were some of the leaders you remember?
Well, and I guess it's okay because I would wear it as a badge of honor, but Skeletor, Arthur M. Harvey, Command Sergeant Major.
Amen.
Yeah, you made me almost just now. I was looking around to see if I was standing on your grass. That's what I was doing grass. I could never catch anybody standing on any grass.
Oh, but that's great.
If he saw you doing that or throw a cigarette butt down, man, you were in for it. Have you at least a week's extra duty?
Oh no! Oh no!
But Colonel Pence was the battalion commander. I'm sorry, I can't remember the man's name. He was a 4th ID Vietnam vet. Gosh, and it escapes me. I know I could dig through a bunch of paperwork and find his name. He even wrote my parents a letter when I showed up there. But yeah, it was kind of a scary place. I was a Christian kid from the suburbs, so, and some of those guys, they've been in gangs for 10 years before they showed up in the Army,
Right.
So they had a little more street smarts than I did, for sure,
So you were there in a time, 83 to 87, 88?
Almost 87. Yeah, I mean, I went on terminal leave in September of 86.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Do you remember your first sergeant?
First sergeant, it was when I got to 3rd of the 4th, it was First Sergeant Broshears. And Captain Howard W. Edmiston was the battery commander. But then we got First Sergeant Radford after Broshears. And then, I'm ashamed I don't remember this man because he really helped me, or the next first sergeant. I can't, I'm blanking it out. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's always tough to be put on the spot like that.
Yeah. But he was a good first sergeant. He helped me out.
That's great. That's great. What things from those times do you still remember and still like count on as daily kind of airborne traits or Army traits? Is there things that shapes your life in a way?
I don't know, trying to keep striving to do better. That's why I'm a senior citizen back in college, I'm older than all my professors.
Yeah, so tell me about going back to college. Tell me what's your goal?
Well, they wouldn't take me back in under anything but what's called an RBA, which is a Regents Bachelor of Arts, which means, it's you're a jack of all trades and a master of none. But that's the only way, because it's been 15 years since I was back in there. I was pre-nursing before.
I got you. Cool.
And I wish they moved the school from Montgomery, West Virginia, up here to Beckley, West Virginia. And the nursing program is very small and highly competitive. And I just don't have the academic past to make that club.
I got you. So you're just trying to get through and get that bachelor's degree.
Yeah, I've only got 2 more semesters.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember toiling through that as a working adult. It was tough,
But what really gets to me, and I think about this at night, my father made lieutenant colonel in the Air Force with a regular commission with a 2-year associate's degree from Marshall. And here I've got almost 4, and I'm not even a warrant officer.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. I got everything backwards, kind of.
If you could give any advice to a young person thinking about service to their country and how you would characterize your service to someone, what kinds of advice might you give?
Stay alert, stay alive, keep your mouth shut. You didn't see anything anybody else does. Just worry about what you're doing, and make sure you try to do everything the best way, because that's what they taught me. Eventually, they instilled into me right to the core was, if you're doing everything perfectly, they're going to look for somebody else to, go after. So your life is very peaceful. The better you are, your life becomes much more peaceful.
Amen. Amen. The more you shine your boots at night, the less the sergeant yells at you in the daytime.
Oh, yeah. I never, other than motor pool day, never went out without a spit shine, even my jungle boots.
Amen. So if you had to wear a particular pair of boots to work one day, what would it be? You're a jump boot guy or a jungle boot guy or what?
I like the jungle boots. They're more comfortable. But, of course, you can't wear anything with Class A or Class B other than the Cochranes, I mean.
What was your highest rank you got to in the Army?
Then I was a Spec 4. They weren't sending people to E5 board unless you re-upped. Just
Oh
like jump
yeah.
master school. I was dying to go to jump master school and have that under my belt before I got out. But you know, you had to re up to go to jump master school. You had to re up to get any school slots at that time. In fact, they had this kind of burns me up. In 1986, they had the Hudman Rollins Cost Reduction Act, where you know, they cut the budgets of everybody, and they didn't turn on the air conditioning in Division until July 15th, and that
Oh
it gets a
wow.
little hotter. You know, I mean, of course, you're being spoiled by saying that, you know, because 50 years ago they didn't have AC in any kind, but still, and you know, they were people were road marching back from the DZ. No cattle cars, no 80 packs. You were humping back from the DZ. So
W- Were you a good shot?
yeah, I scored expert on rifle and pistol. See, we had uh, Stinger gunners at that time had the M1911, not an M16, and so there was 25 guys in the Stinger platoon that had 1911s and a few officers. And the battery commander at that time, Robert F. Barrow, Captain Barrow, he challenged anybody to beat him to qualifying with the M1911. And myself and Mark Zargian did just that. And I thought he was a very stand-up guy. I went across the street to the package store and brought us our beer.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I'm looking forward to interviewing Major Barrow, or when I say Major Barrow, I think he's Colonel or Lieutenant Colonel
Yeah,
retired
Lieutenant Colonel.
Barrow.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. So, so you were good with a pistol, huh? That's awesome to be able
Absolutely.
to beat
Oh,
the boss like that.
well. Well, I come from a shooting family. My father was a competitive shooter his whole adult life. And of
Oh
course,
wow, that's
being
cool.
from the Marine Corps, it's kind of instilled in you there. Every man's a rifleman.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Uh,
Were you good at PT?
not if had been at Rick's Lounge the night before.
Oh wow. So were you one of those guys? Did you go to Rick's Lounge and hang out, or have a place do you hang out regularly?
Oh, you know, we go everywhere. Rick's Lounge, Flaming Mug, Bottoms Up, uh, gosh, Blue Marble, bunch of them.
Oh wow. So did you have any crazy nights out with the boys? Have to
Not
have
really. I
to
mean,
pop
thank
smoke?
God. What's that?
I was wondering if y'all had to pop smoke one night and y'all say I could get out of there.
Oh no, 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 no. I mean, but no, you know, that's the thing. I had enough sense about me that I don't want to go too far and get in trouble. Like we did a deployment in '85 called Rabbit Dog '85 down to Camp Rudder, the Army Ranger camp. Excuse me, at Eglin Air Force Base, and we convoyed down to Charleston Air Force Base and loaded the whole battery up on 6 C-141s and 3 KC-10 extenders. And, you know, and I got to sit in that boomer's box of one of the KC-10s when we refueled the planes. That was amazing. But, you know, we went and they put us in GP mediums. We were there like 3 weeks, and it's pretty hot in Florida. You know, it rains every day. We're staying down there 3 weeks. But I think it was the first or second time they let us go off base. These guys, we went to this place called the Green Frog, and these guys got in a fight. And next thing you knew, we were restricted to base for the rest of the time. So that's not, you know, you got to mind your P's and Q's, especially when I'm sure they said that the base, you know, the Air Force guy, the base commander at Eglin was not happy.
I bet. I bet. So how did transition out of the army go? Was it
Oh,
easy getting out, or was it tough?
it was tough. See, I knew I needed to go to college and stuff, but and that, you know, that my parents expected that eventually. You know, they said, go, you know, sell your wild oats, but then you got to come back and go to college. But you know, I was into cars and stuff, you know, and so I got a job at a gas station, a full serve gas station back home. And the worst thing was you get treated kind of like a slave by people telling you to do all this stuff. And I was like, one day I came to the realization I had this great job, all this pride and all this cool stuff, all this respect, and now I'm pumping gas,
Right.
and I'm,
Right.
you start questioning your decisions, because, you know, uh, really what being a paratrooper is doing fun, adventurous stuff that people save up their whole lives to do. You know, I got a couple of friends that are skydivers. One of the guys got 700 jumps, and the other guy's got 3,500 jumps.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, but that's I was gonna say, like I, I am not a hero, but hero I do know some, and I wanted to speak about this man because he's probably one of the most impressive people that I've ever met in my life. And he did the trifecta like my dad, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. His name was Command Sergeant Major Weitzel, and he taught over at Fayetteville Tech. He taught the automotive course. But at 17 years old, he jumped into the Philippines with the 11th Airborne Division, was the sole survivor of his battalion, and he was badly wounded. And then this guy goes and he jumps, the special ops thing in Korea, where they jump to try and capture the POW train. He did that, and then he was one of the people on the ground floor of the real special forces, the separate special forces, and he spent 6 years with MACV 58 to 64, Military Assistant Command Vietnam, and then he came back and was in the Airborne Board, and the guy had 3,000 static line jumps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this guy, I mean, I was like, and he was kind of this unassuming little guy that kind of like Papa Smurf or something, didn't seem like, was the nicest guy in the world, I don't know, you couldn't hang it, any frightful names on him, really.
Amen.
But he must have known what he was doing to go that far.
Right. Right. Well, thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. What is it that drives you, that keeps you going? Do you have a spirit inside that maybe you look to when times are tough?
Uh, my parents, they went through a lot, a lot of hard times, be the separation and you know, the demands of my father's career, I mean, he would go and they would do the ORIs, which they'd fly into a SAC base and go, "You're at war here," the base commander, and the evaluation team would, you got to pass or fail, and if you failed, like my dad worked for a famous, kind of notorious guy named Sundown Wells. He got that name where he said, "I want that man off this base by sundown." And what it was, these guys, they were going around doing that. But the thing was, what you got to realize is these guys they're firing, they have families, and they might have, been shot down over Germany or Japan during World War II or any number of crazy things. But if you have a bad ORI, none of that mattered at that time. Your career was over, and you might as well retire. And I think that would be a stressful job to do that, to go around and just on a moment's notice, you're putting somebody out of work.
So if you had to look back on your life and live 1 year again, or one time or time period again, what would it be?
Oh, being in the 82nd Airborne, I wish that every other time, there were some tough times, like I said, there's some crazy characters in there and some people I had some problems with, but gosh, I mean, it was just so much fun. It's like, well, for instance, the day I got to Fort Bragg, I went, I think it was April 27th, 1984, and went to 19. They sent me to 19th replacement for one thing, which pissed me off, but I fixed that. But I'm driving out the road, and all of a sudden there's this big traffic jam. I go, "What's going on? You know, that's one of the MPs. And he goes, oh, it's open house at Pope. And so I pulled around at Green Ramp and parked, and all of a sudden, the one of the Airborne Board T-28s comes screaming over the trees. Like I said, just above the trees. And what they were doing was they did the Thunderbirds or Blue Angels kind of routine, but with T-28s. Right. It was great because, like I said, it was almost like, World War II again. That was what I was saying. Like the Knights were still using C7 Caribous, and they still had they didn't use the Mentors, the Turbo Mentors, until '86. I guess it was. It broke my heart when they brought those out.
Oh, wow. Wow, you're still obviously an aviation buff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I wish I could fly, but, I'd have to get, at least, now you can get, like, back then they didn't have corrective surgery for your eyes, I could do it now, but I'm a little too old for all of that,
Oh, yeah.
Plus, it's an expensive hobby.
Do you have kids?
No, my parents were very sick. They got very sick, long-term illnesses, right about the time that something like that would have happened. But instead of taking care of my kids, I was taking care of them.
Amen. Well, that's a great service. That's wonderful.
They did such wonderful things for me. I thought I owed them.
Well, yeah. Amen. Yeah.
And and see, that's the thing. There's nothing like watching a man like my father, who was he brought the Minuteman missile into service in the Strategic Air Command. Like I got a newspaper clipping of the 9th Minuteman that was launched was Operation War Axe. It was the first Minuteman that was emplaced and launched under combat conditions. That was only the 9th one, but he'd already fired another one before that. It was the Missile Combat Crew Commander, where you turn the keys.
Oh, and wow, that's cool.
But I watched the guy that did that stuff. He got Alzheimer's and watched, biology take his brain away.
Right.
Which is,
right.
God, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Amen.
But I took care of him,
Well, that's one of the things that we're doing this for. One of the reasons that I'm talking to you and guys like you is to capture these stories for, our battles and our loved ones and the families, Archiving these stories are, it's an awesome thing, Thanks so much for talking to me, I really appreciate it.
I thank you for the opportunity to, catalog, because I've had my health problems of my own, and so, you should live each day like it is your last, because one day you'll be right.
Amen. So let's close this thing out here. Let's do this. Why don't I call you to attention, and you sound off with your motto, whatever your motto might be, and then salute and sign out.
Well, I'm gonna have to move you back here, I guess.
Yeah, let's see if we can get you in camera, to get the camera right.
We would say if it flies, it dies.
There you
all
go.
The way.
Back up a little bit further back for me.
Can you see me now?
No, a little bit further back.
Let me see.
A little bit further back.
How about that? No, that's still.
No, a little bit further back. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, that's great, man. Oh, there you are. I love it. Yeah.
All right. If it flies, it dies all the way.
Oh my gosh, I love it, man. That was perfect. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
What's your favorite cadence?
That's a good one. The one up jumped the monkey from the coconut grove. He's bad words.
I did a little song with that part of that in it not long ago. Did you see that little song I did on the? If you look on the Marshall in the Middle, you can find it.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, man. So James Given, man, I salute you, buddy. Good night, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sergeant Major. God bless.
Oh my gosh. Amen.